to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. I appreciate you guys a whole lot for subscribing to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed, if this is the first time of you coming across this channel, Stylish Naija, please, I would appreciate if you hit on the subscribe button and then hit on the bell also to get an update whenever I upload a new video. You can also follow me on all of my social media platform: Instagram Stylish Naija, Facebook Stylish Naija, and then Pinterest at Stylish Naija, to get notifications of our videos also, and then hit on the bell also to get notified. Okay, today I'm going to be showing you how to cut and sew this double pleats, inverted pleats A-line dress. Actually, so you could see the picture. It's a double inverted pleats dress. Yeah, so you could see the picture up there. So I'm going to show you how to actually cut and sew this dress. It's very simple and easy, but it's just kind of trickish a little bit though. Okay, so I'm just going to get straight to the tutorial. If you want to register for my online class, you can see my number scrolling through the screen. Just send me a message on WhatsApp, and then I'll send you the details of the available classes. That's the class that we have available. Okay, so I'm just trying to get all of my things ready. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do now, we're going to measure the length of our A-line gown. So you can see where I folded I didn't fold my fabric at an angle. You can do that. You can actually fold at an angle. You can use your regular straight basic bodice pattern to still curve it out. So you can do it anyhow you want. So for this, I'm going to be using the full length of this, which is 43, because I'm still going to trim it. At the end of the day, the dress is going to be about 38, but because I'm going to be doing a lot of trimming, so I'm just going to use the entire length. So in this dress, what you are going to do, if you notice the darts, that's the inverted pleats are around the dart lines. So here's what you are going to do. The first thing you are going to do, I'm going to use my bust span measurement, which is nipple to nipple. Normally my bust span is supposed to be 4.5, which is 9 inches, but because of the peculiarity of this dress, I'm going to add about 1 inch to it, so, or 1.5 inch. So what I'm going to do here now, I'm just going to measure 5 inches or 5.5 like this. I'm going to mark this here like this. I just want you to note and see everything that I'm doing. So I'm going to mark this, and then the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to mark out this is where my dart lines, that's the 2 pleats are going to be. So I'm just going to put a notch here first, and then as time goes on we'll continue. And then the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to add my necklines, which is 3.5 inches. So this is the front. The back does not have the pleats. You can still insert the pleats in the back or the front, depends on what you want. So let's just cut the front, and we'll use the front to cut the back. So this is 3 inches width for my neckline. So from this point, I'm just going to mark the width of my neckline like this. I'll use 3.3, which is like this. So this is my neckline now. The next thing I'm going to mark now, I'm going to mark out the shoulder of my dress. I'm going to mark the shoulder of my dress. Okay, so before we mark the shoulder, let's mark out the part where we're going to insert our kiss pleat. That's our inverted pleat. So this is the dart line. That's the point where I'm going to put the dart. I told you I use my bust span. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to place my tape like this. I'm going to measure 1 inch. You could do 1.5 or 1 inch, depends on how big you want the pleats to be. So for this, I think I'm just going to do about 1 inch. So I'm going to mark 1 inch to this side, and then I'll come to this, from this point also I'll mark 1 inch also, or we could do 1.5. So our dart will be bigger. So let's do 1.5 to the right, and then 1.5 to the left. So what I'm going to do now, these two parts, I'm going to put notches on them also. So I want you to note, this line is our dart line, that's our bust span line, that's nipple to nipple line. So now from this point now, I'm just going to take this like this. I'm going to fold it in. I'll pin it to this point like this. So my dress will return back to its original form. So I hope you understand. So I'll pin it like this. I'll pin it to the down of my dress. That's my fabric rather. Okay, so now I've pinned the dart lines. We've pinned it in. That's the inverted pleat in. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to take out our full body measurements. Like I said, it's really simple. You're just going to take your tape like this. You come back and then you measure your shoulder line. So the shoulder line that I'm using for this is 14. You divide into 2. You have 7. This is 7 inches, and then I'll add my normal 1 inch for allowance. That's stitching allowance. You could do ½ inch, and then from this point like this, I'll measure my armhole line, and then I'll use my curve like this to create out my armhole. And then the next thing I'm going to mark now, insert my bust line measurement. So this is my bust point, which is 10 inches, and then I have 17 inches for my waist, and then I have 28 inches for my hip line. So the next thing I'm going to do now, on my bust line, I'll mark, it is a free dress. So normally my bust is supposed to be 9, which is 36. I'm going to add ease. We already have about 3 inches ease here on this center, so you should put that into consideration. We folded this part, so automatically when you open it, it will give it that A-line kind of shape because it's already hidden in. So I'm just going to add about 1 inch or 1.5. It depends on how big you want it to be. 1.5 is on the side like this. Just 1 inch. 1 inch is okay because we have 3 inches already. So I'm going to add 1 inch here, and then I'll come to the waist part also. So I'm just going to measure what I have here like this. I'll just remove 1 inch from inside just to have a little bit of thinness around the waist. And then on this hip part, it is a free dress, so I'm just going to slant it to the down part of my dress. So the down part, I'm using about 14 inches. So I'm just going to take it like this, and then I'll slope it. So that was why I said, okay, let me pull it up so you can see it properly. So I'll slope it out now. So the down part, like I said, I used 14, so I'll slope it out now. So with this, I'm going to have my A-line shape. So I'm just trying to set it for the camera to capture every bit of it. Okay, so I hope you can see it. So I want every bit of it to be captured. So I'll cut out this down before we continue with our pleats. So you're just going to use this to cut out the back piece also. That's if you want your pleats to be at the back. If you want to have the same key split at the back, you use it to cut. It's a free dress. It does not have any zipper. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to open this up. So let's cut out the neckline. So I'll cut out the neckline like this. Just cut it out. We're still going to trim it properly. So we'll open up this part now, and then I'll show you how to stitch this. So you see our marks, the parts that will put our marks. So I'm going to open it up now. So now I will take out my shoulder loop. So now I'll show you how to. So you see what we have. So you could see the shape of our dress is flay already. So the next thing we're going to do now, this is the part that will put the notches on it. I'm going to take them like this now, and I'm going to pin it down from the inside. So I just want you to see what I am doing. So I'll bring the two parts together. So the next thing, I'm so sorry, I actually forgot to explain this to you. So you know our lines that we marked, our bust line part. Let me just open it up and do that explanation before I continue. This is our bust line. So it depends on where you actually want your pleat to get to. This is our bust line. So I think mine, I'm going to extend it a little bit. So it like I said, it depends on where you want your pleat to be, where, as in where you want it to get to. So this is my bust line. So I think I'm just going to come down to up to about 13 inches. It's not going to get to the waistline. So let it come to my under bust line. I think it's better. So I'm going to mark. So my under bust is 13 inches. I'm just going to put it on 14. I want it to be a little bit, or 13.5. Okay, let's do 13.5. So I'm going to mark this 13.5 like this. I'm going to mark it to this point also. So I'm just going to rule it. So what I'm going to do now, so that's where our pleat is, that's where we are going to stitch to. So I'll take this part like this, these two parts like this. I would hold them together like this. That's what I was trying to do now, because we'll go and stitch them. We'll stitch it to get to this part and then we'll stop. So I'll pin these points like this together, and this point, I'm just going to maintain along this line, making sure that these two, I'll just pin a little bit below this part also, and then I'll do the same thing to this part also. So I'll hold this one also like this together. This is the wrong side though. I want you to note, we're not holding it on the right side, we're holding it on the wrong side. Okay, so now I'm going to mark how we're going to stitch it now. So on this part, so this is where we have our two notches. So I want you to note. So I'm just going to rule it. I'll stop here. And then this one also, I'm going to rule this one also. This is on the wrong side. Please, I want you to take note. So now I'm going to take it back to my machine now, and then I'm going to stitch this. I'm going to stitch this like this from here to here, and then I will stitch this to this point. So I'll just come back and show you. Okay, so now what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to stitch it to show you how to create the pleats. So I'll take it like this. So that's the two notched parts. And then I'll stitch up to where I want, and then once I get to that point, I'll do a top stitch like this. Don't do that at all. So I'm going to open up the other part also, and then I'm going to stitch the other part also. And then I'm going to stop. So I'm going to open it up and show you how to iron it out now. Okay, so I finished stitching. So I'm going to explain what I did before I'll turn it to the other side. So I took it back to my machine like I explained to you. So I stitched it. This was actually my under bust and line. I made a little adjustment to it. So that's from the shoulder to my under bust is actually 13.5, but I actually stopped it at just 1 inch below my bust point line. This is my bust point, which is my nipple point. So I came down by 1 inch. So I stopped it. Initially I wanted to stop it at 13, but I just decided after stitching, I found that the pleat was not, it did not come out nicely. So I had to just open it a little bit. So I have 11 inches. So from the shoulder to 11 inches, I stitched it up to that point and then did a top stitch on it. And then I pinned, you know, before I stitched, I actually pinned the whole pleat down. I pinned it down, and then after stitching it up to that point, I took it back to my ironing table, and then I opened it up. So you know, normally when you stitch, it's usually like this. So let me show you. You know, when you stitch, it's usually like this. It's usually like this. So this is where I stitched it up to. This is what I had here. And then what you do, you open up your plate. You open it up like this. That's, you just hold it and then you butterfly it, kind of butterfly it. And then you make sure that this part is still pinned down to the down. And then you butterfly it and then you iron it down flat. So I did the same thing to the both sides. I ironed it down like this, and then I'm going to turn the right side now. So you see how the right side of the dress is looking. So it's looking beautiful. So when I take off these pins now, you are going to see the pleat is going to, the inverted pleat is going to get to this point. So I'm going to place it on my mannequin now. Okay, let me just open it up for you to see. So I'll just take out my pins. So you see how beautiful it is looking. So you see the inside. So that's how it is actually done. So you see it now on the right side. So you see how the dress is looking now on the right side. So I'll just set my camera. So you see how it is looking now. So you see where the pleats get to, and then it is looking beautiful, and then you see the shape of the dress is coming out. So that is that. All you have to do, like I said, if you want to cut the back and the front, if you want it to be like this, you just use the same pattern that you use. You cut out the back and then you add all. You can turn this dress into actually any design. So but the emphasis of this video is actually how to achieve the case pleat. So thank you so much. That's the inverted pleat. Thank you so much. I will see you in my next video. So you see the way the inside is looking like now. So bye. If you find this video, please like